NMDC has been consistently hiking prices. Nigel D'Souza caught up with the management to get a sense of where their pricing stands now compared to Odisha and global pricing. Listen in.
If you compare our prices with the international prices, we are at the domestic prices, specifically of NMDC, are at, if you look at the East Coast, we are at around 40% at a discount to international prices. On the West Coast would be around 30-35%. So our prices are lower to that extent. If you look at Odisha prices, we are more or less similar to what Odisha is offering.
Do you believe there is a scope to go ahead and increase prices from here?
Yes, obviously there is still scope for increase in prices with the current scenario.
Okay, all right. So we got a sense in terms of pricing. You believe that there is scope to increase pricing. What about demand? You know, you did rather well in the month of February itself. By the end of this year, what kind of dispatch number? We're talking about the sales number. Will you achieve at NMDC? It looks like it should be around 40.5 to around 41 million tons odd. Give us your sense. And for FY23, what's the sales volumes number you have targeted? Go ahead.
So the domestic demand looks very, very strong, especially with the steel sector almost growing at 15%. So yeah, to that extent, demand is strong, and we do not have any issues. The current production should be around, in this financial year, we should around somewhere around 43-44 million tons. We should end up around. And in the next financial year, we are looking at reaching the 50 million mark. That's the target for the next year.
All right. Those are production numbers, sir. What about sales volumes numbers? I'm looking at the numbers that you all have already put out. It appears that sales volume should be in the vicinity of around 41 million tons, 40.5 million tons. What should you end the year with? You have given us a production number. I'm trying to understand the sales number now, both for FY22 and 23. Go ahead.
So the production and sales have almost grown at around 25%, and sales should be also around 42 is what we expect to hit in this financial year.
And 23?
23, like I said, production should be 50 and sales should be around 45-46 million tons.
Okay, all right. So sales volumes numbers for this year, next fiscal, they are in 42 to around 46 million tons. We get that. Those are the targets that you have laid out. You know, pellet prices as well have been moving up. Give us a sense about your pellet plant. What capacity utilization levels are they functioning at? And when does it break even, or has it already broken even?
In the current financial year, we have already broken even because of the high pellet prices. But what has happened actually, the production has not been we have not been able to hit the capacity utilization. So it is below 50% in the current year. Actually, if you look at this pellet plant, it was primarily trying to use slimes and low grade ore, which we are not. There are some issues with the state government with the system operating in Karnataka because of the Supreme Court monitoring. So there's a non-availability of slimes or tailings. So that is how we are not able to utilize the full capacity. But however, going forward, I think we should be able to ramp up capacities in the next financial year.
All right. So what would the target be? I remember, in one of the con calls, you were talking about close to around 100 crores of EBITDA coming in from the pellet plant at some point of time. Do you stick to that? And by which quarter will that happen?
So that would take some more time. So that would take some more time. But next year we should be able to do 5.5-6 million tons.
5.5-6 million tons of pellet capacity. All right, we got that. Now, in case, I know you all haven't exported at all in this fiscal year so far, but given that international markets are soaring, have you started exporting any kind of iron ore produce, or are you selling only in the domestic market?
No, so the next financial year we have plans to export. I don't know, since our volumes are going up, and we believe that we have to be present in the international market, and we have plans to export in the next financial year.
Okay, but for this year you have not yet started exporting.
No, not.
Got that. What about the steel production? That's the big trigger for the street. When does steel production come out of your steel plant? That's an Nagarjuna steel plant. Give us a time span. When does that happen?
So we have already started the process of commissioning of the steel plant. The coke ovens, battery heating has started, and we aim to start pushing somewhere in March end, beginning of April, and consequently the blast furnace will start operations in May, April end, and then the SMS, the hot metal and the thin slab caster. So the steel production should be there by May and June, specifically June.
So May and June is when we see some steel coming out of this plant. Well, what about the status of the demerger? Oh, when could the street hear about the likely record date? We know you'll have already split the balance sheets, but when is that? When will we have two listed entities of NMDC? One the core business, one the steel plant.
So our application is already with the MCA and the corporate affairs, and I would think that somewhere around May we should be able to demerge the entities.
Okay. Post commissioning of the steel plant, will you all be looking at a suitor, or will you look to run the plant?
So currently our idea is to run the plant, and we will run it. We have our people in position, and currently we believe that we'll be able to run the plant.
All right, that's the word coming in from NMDC. Before we head into a break here.